pinnacle of her argument. I knew she'd gotten there because her body language was exactly the same as it used to be when she subjected me to her points of view for hours on end, and any moment she would stop moving and tilt her head in a way that meant she was coming to the close. As much as I thought I'd erased the memory of her from my brain, it all came hurtling back the second she opened her mouth, like someone wielding a sledgehammer and smashing it into my frontal lobe. But sitting here in blissful silence while I watched her flail about meant I could now actually think. Top of the list of things I was thinking: 1. I wonder if Murray can invest in this earplug company. 2. How, for the millionth time, the fuck did I manage to get myself into a room with a woman I'd swore I'd never be in a room with again? Oh yes, my mother. And alcohol. The combination of which left me with my guard down, and after she'd been hounding me about it for over a month, timed her final plea with me to help her friend with her divorce at a very weak moment when I was otherwise distracted. It was only the next morning I'd found out who the opposing counsel was: Beulah Holmes. I could see her mouth opening and closing, her scarlet lips framing words I'd attempt to read if I could be bothered. Every so often I raised an eyebrow, giving the pretense I was listening, but it inevitably set her off again. She still wasn't done, which led me to wonder if 3, this yelling, was all for my benefit, or if she was trying to show off to any of the dozen associates she'd brought with her, and what I assumed was Johnson Maynard's attempt to intimidate me. Would she be acting like this if other people weren't in the room? Who was I kidding? Of course she fucking would. She'd never lost an opportunity to lord her argument over me at a decibel-breaking pitch. She yelled at me during Professor Hickory's criminal law class, where we'd started discussing Gideon v. Wainwright and the rights to a fair trial, which disintegrated into a full-blown argument about criminal justice reform, and somehow segued into the standard of meals served in the Harkness dining hall on campus. She was still yelling when I left her to go to my ethics class. There was also that time when I received an A+ and she got an A- on our corporate law paper. I can still feel those waves of unadulterated, smug happiness washing through me as her finger moved up the paper pinned to the notice board outside the lecture room. Because I knew that as soon as she got a grade, her eyes would move instinctively to my name, because I did the same. To give her credit, though, she didn't just yell at me. Professor Batten Soames also got an earful. The only time she didn't yell was when I was named president of Harvard Law Review. Then I was treated to a death stare and silence for a blissful 24 hours, which was all she lasted before she had to open her mouth again to argue against something else I'd said. I wouldn't have minded so much if most of the stuff which came out of her mouth wasn't wrong. But it was. Everything was wrong. And therefore it was my duty to correct her, or not listen, whichever one I knew would fuck her off the most at that particular point in time. Yet for some reason I never fathomed, the professors loved her. Like sitting in a tree loved her, which meant I had to work my ass off just to make sure I got a better grade, because they didn't love me quite so much. But it wasn't my fault. The professors just didn't understand that I could play hard as well as work hard, even if I did occasionally turn up to lectures with sunglasses and Alka-Seltzer. Nor did they appreciate my reasoning for experiencing a fully rounded student life. But we couldn't all be kiss-asses. It didn't matter, though. According to my tally, in the 3 years we were side by side at Harvard Law, she beat me 47%. Some people would see that as good as equal, but they were wrong, too. I was better, and I would rue the day Beulah Holmes bested that score. And today marked the start of a new scoring board. Currently, I was winning, mostly because I had beaten my prediction of how quickly it would take her to raise the volume of the room. I couldn't take all the credit, though. As per usual, she'd gotten herself into this situation by greeting me in her usual snide tone with an opening that went like this. "Well, well, well, look what the cat dragged in. Nice of you to join us." She drummed her fingertips on the boardroom table like she'd been waiting for hours, and her ass had gone numb from the soft leather chair she was sitting in. The black gloss painted on her short nails caught the light and twinkled, making her appear far less evil than she actually was. But I knew better. She was the devil incarnate.